On this episode of GWeek, we talk to GW students about the importance of recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, get an inside look at the action and excitement of Colonial's invasion, and have an exclusive interview with a trip leader from the GW Alternative Breaks community. All this and more on GWeek. Welcome to another episode of GWeek. I'm your host, Mary Grace Brown. The GW community came together last weekend for Colonial's Invasion, which kicked off basketball season and Parents Weekend. The event promoted school pride by showcasing the talents of our dancers, singers, and student athletes. Here's reporter Coralie Barreau with more.
There were many exciting events that kicked off Colonial's weekend. One of these events was Colonial's Invasion, which showcased some of GW's top performing arts and sports teams. The pep rally began with ROTC members and the GW Motherfunkers coming together to sing the national anthem. Next, the GW gymnastics team flipped their way onto the floor, flaunting some of their most impressive tumbling skills. The GW Bongra team continued high-energy movements that combined their passion for dance and culture, while the GW First Ladies and Cheer team collaborated to perform entertaining routines. GW's mascot, George, displayed some of today's most popular dance moves, including the Nay Nay. Capital Funk revealed their first hip-hop dance routine of the year and dominated the stage with power and swagger. Here's what Captain Sean Hurd had to say about participating in this event.
So Colonial's Invasion is unique in the sense that we tend to perform off campus a lot when we do our performances. So to be able to perform on campus in front of a GW-oriented crowd is really exciting for us, and the crowd is usually very hyped and very excited. It's a family-oriented event as well, so it's always good to perform in front of all ages and students and members of the GW community.
The night ended with exciting giveaways and players of the GW's men's and women's basketball teams making grand appearances in front of the crowd to kick off the start of their seasons this fall. In all, Colonial's Invasions brought friends, families, and fans together and took Parents Weekend by storm.
Reporting for GWeek, this is Coralie Barreau.
In need of a long weekend to de-stress after midterms? Well, you're in luck. Beginning fall semester of 2016, GW is adding a fall break to the academic calendar. The fall break comes after much debate among the administration, and it is intended to preserve the mental health of students. Many universities across the country have fall breaks, including Georgetown. The break will take place on Monday, October 24th and Tuesday, October 25th of next year, creating an extra long weekend. This month is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Every October, major breast cancer charities combine efforts to increase awareness of the disease and to raise funds for research into its cause, prevention, and treatment. GWeek reporter Sam Cherry asked GW students why it's important to recognize breast cancer awareness and how they can show their support.
Hi, this is Samantha Cherry reporting for GW TV. This week we're in U-Yard talking to students about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Do you know it was Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I did actually.
I did.
Yes.
Have you seen any events on campus for breast cancer?
Yes, I actually have. Shout out to my fraternity Kappa Sigma. We are holding Shave Away. It's going to be this Sunday. All of us are going bald, and we're all raising money. The person who bids the most on my hair gets to shave my head.
I saw the free yoga week that was going on at Hellwell.
Yeah, I actually think that there's a women's soccer game that's supporting breast cancer awareness, which is really cool.
And why do you think it's important to spread awareness for breast cancer?
I think breast cancer is a very important issue. It's one that a lot of women in this country struggle with, and it's something that we should try and bring as much attention to try and eradicate the problem.
Like with awareness, people get tested like at any stage, earlier the better for prevention.
I feel like it's a disease that can still be conquered, and it's important to show that sense of hope and like optimism.
Hey, what have you done to support breast cancer?
I think like one year I wore a pink shirt.
Like I've donated stuff.
I remember I went to a walk once.
I've tried to help raise money when there have been fundraisers that they've helped orchestrate and just kind of be there as a friend.
Do you know anyone that's been personally affected?
Yeah, so my aunt actually had breast cancer, and she was fighting for a long time, and she is cancer-free now, so it's really good.
Yeah, my grandma.
Not directly, but yeah, I am aware of how serious it is.
Yeah, I have a family friend at home who recently got over it.
This has been Samantha Cherry reporting for GWeek.
Thanks, Sam. We'll be right back with more headlines after the break.
Wonderful academic institution with a fine athletic tradition. Patricio Garino throws it down with two hands. Wonderful city. It's a great place to go to school.
Keaton Savage open down the right side. Will go and dunk it with his right hand.
Not just a family, it's a whole community.
Armwood dunks it with 1.9 seconds left. Armwood, a thunder slam. 81-80 George Washington. A huge victory for the Colonials.
Welcome back. GW classrooms are the place for innovation and creativity, but with the lack of funding, some departments can't support programs that are meaningful to students. This January, GW's Creative Writing Department will lose 8 faculty members as a result of budget cuts caused by a drop in graduate student enrollment. GW will only be able to offer 4 sections of the Introduction to Creative Writing course next semester, creating overcrowded class sizes and making it more difficult for students to fulfill their GPAC requirement. Creative writing major and minor requirements will remain the same, but new courses that were introduced this semester will not be offered. The Dean of the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences says the university is working to hire a tenure-track faculty member. Have you made your Halloween plans yet? If not, look no further than Embassy Row. Join hundreds of kids and college students trick-or-treating from 1:30 to 4 p.m. on the 31st. 10 foreign embassies will be open to the public, dishing out international sweets from their home countries. This opportunity is while supplies last, so be sure to arrive on time to experience your own international Halloween. How about celebrating Halloween with your favorite animals? Over at the Smithsonian's National Zoo, the annual event Boo at the Zoo took place. Here's reporter Andrew Carlander with more.
Hey there, I'm Andrew with GWTV, and we are here at the National Smithsonian Zoo for their annual event, Boo at the Zoo. Now, this event's been going on for about 17 years now, and we wanted a little piece on the fun here. Boo at the Zoo took place from October 23rd through the 25th, and children of all ages participated in the Halloween festivities, such as trick-or-treating and Halloween-themed exhibits. We actually had the great opportunity to meet with some. All right, so I'm here with some pretty awesomely dressed kids right now, and I'm going to ask them a couple questions about tonight. So let's start with you here. What is your costume?
I'm a Red Ninja.
Ooh, Red Ninja. Awesome. And where is that from?
It's from...
Just any Red Ninja in general? Awesome. That is a fantastic costume, sir. Awesome job. All right, and let's see here. What's been your favorite part about tonight at Boo at the Zoo?
My favorite part was the birdhouse and all the birds.
The birdhouse and all the birds. Fantastic. Good answer. And you, sir, let's see. Halloween is next week. Do you have any plans? Are you excited?
Yes, I'm going to go trick-or-treating near my neighborhood and lots of candy, just like now.
Perfect. You heard it here, folks. Lots of candy next week, just like now. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here, and enjoy the rest of your night, all right? All right. Of course, it wasn't just the kids out having a good time. Even the zoo animals got in on the Halloween fun, with many cages and exhibits hosting a variety of decorations, such as pumpkins. With one-of-a-kind treats like this, Boo at the Zoo draws huge crowds, and it'll continue to do so for many more years to come. With GWeek and GWTV, I'm Andrew Carlander.
Back on campus, the Corcoran School of the Arts and Design welcomed its new director this month. Sanjeet Sethi has over a decade of experience in art and education. He most recently served as the director of the Santa Fe Art Institute. Sethi plans on integrating Corcoran with GW and the local community. Earlier this month, GW announced it will be teaming up with the Posse Foundation to increase diverse students' access to the university. The Posse Foundation, a nationwide college access and youth leadership development program, and the university will be providing full tuition to 10 Atlanta area high school students. The first 10 Posse scholars will join GW in the fall of 2016. By the 4th year of the program, 40 Posse scholars will continuously be part of the university. President Knapp said in a statement, "This exciting partnership will enable us to enrich our campus with a new source of talented students and broaden the network of citizen leaders we provide to the nation and the world." We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
at the intersection of policy, practice, and research, connecting all that Washington has to offer with an intellectual environment that drives progress, transforming vision into action, offering learning experiences that are rigorous, real-time, and real-world. In a city shaping the future, George Washington is a place where faculty and students don't just study the world, they work to change it.
On October 10th and 11th, the Taste of DC took place just blocks away from our nation's capital. The event is the largest outdoor food and music festival held on the Eastern Seaboard. Reporter Rudy Venkatesan has our inside look at all the delicious cuisine.
The Taste of DC is an annual two-day event that draws in thousands of people every year. It allows members of the DC community to try different types of cuisines.
This grand event shut down Pennsylvania Avenue from 3rd Street to 7th Street. It gave the opportunity to local food vendors to show off their best menu items, including DC's very own Captain Cookie. We got a chance to talk to students and families about their experience at the Taste of DC.
I love it. It's pretty great.
A lot more people than I thought would be here, but it's fun so far.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we love
Texas Day Brazil, really good.
Really. Shop House was really good.
Shop House was really good. Shop House was amazing. Yeah.
What was it? Smoke and Barrel.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably Luke's Lobster. It's really good.
All of it's been really good. I mean, it's so good that I just don't remember.
We just keep eating.
We also asked why they thought it was important to have a huge food festival like this in DC.
I think it's really important to be able to experience different cultures and food, and if you really love food, it's just a really great opportunity. And we're actually, we're pretty new to the DC area, so it's really nice for us to try all these different restaurants and just figure out, what we like, and I don't know, help us be home to DC. It's an opportunity to try different types of food from different places. I was like, okay, well, let's try to get stuff from different continents. So we're in different countries. So that's kind of how we were going around.
What she said.
We have a Foggy Bottom bubble, so it's important to experience things in different neighborhoods in DC. I mean, it's the whole point of going to a city school that,
Bench chili boom.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's important to experience what else is out there outside of Foggy Bottom.
Reporting for GWeek, I'm Rudy Venkatesan.
I believe. I believe that. I believe that we. I believe that we will win.
While many GW students are involved with civic engagement on campus, some travel abroad during winter and spring breaks to do community service. The Alternative Breaks program allows GW students to make a difference beyond the borders of the district. And here with us now is Tess Gann, the leader of the Puerto Rico trip, to tell us more about the program. Welcome.
Thanks for having me here.
Of course. So, can you tell me what the Alternative Breaks program is?
Yeah, the Alternative Breaks program is a chance for students to go and do a wide array of different types of service. It's an entirely student-led organization, and so different students come on as trip leaders. They plan the trips under the guidance of our executive board, and there are domestic and international trips in many different issue areas and different things, but it's just service trips in whatever interest area pretty much you can find.
Okay, great. Sounds like a wonderful program. So can you just tell me why you think these alternative breaks are enriching for GW students?
Well, last year I decided to go on the trip to Guatemala, and for me, I've been lucky enough to have traveled a lot, especially with community service as my main focus on these trips, and I really wanted to continue that. And I found that so many people use alternative breaks as their first chance to go to a new place or to be on a plane or really to meet a bunch of new people. So I made a ton of friends through the program, and so that's like a different thing I got out of it that I wasn't expecting. But it's also like we talk about the GW bubble here a lot, and it's really nice to just totally get out and do something completely different. And like forget about what your hair looks like and stuff like that, like really just get involved in a new community and do something entirely new.
Right. Awesome, thank you. That was a really good answer. So can you please tell me now what are the various places students can go to, both domestically and internationally?
I don't know all of the trips off the top of my head, but for example, there are winter and spring break trips that are different. Some overlap. Some of the domestic trips include like Golan Nation, Florida, LA, New York. There's one that stays in DC. And then some of the abroad trips include, well, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. And then each year you have the opportunity to propose new trips, and the executive board reevaluates what trips are working, what trips might be able to change, and if any trips are proposed that they find out would be a good opportunity for us to work with. Like Chicago was a new trip last year, for example. So it's a nice way for students to get involved. So it's a little bit fluid from year to year.
Right, okay. That's pretty cool how students have the choice to either stay here in America, just go somewhere else, or go to a completely different country. So now a big part of this is service. So what types of service can students get involved with on the different trips?
There are so many different ones. I don't really know the exact issue areas of all of them, but you can work with at-risk youth. Sometimes there's like rebringing people into society who have been in juvenile systems or who've had issues with the law, and kind of like reincorporating them into society and being a support system. There's education abroad. In Guatemala, I helped the sustainable construction of a school. In Puerto Rico, we do sustainability and organic farming. There's working with animals. There are so many different things. Yeah, it really depends, and the trips vary in sizes, so the level of intimacy that you have with different people on site or different site coordinators changes for each trip. They're really unique compared.
Okay, got it. So yeah, lots of options for students. So now, big question, where are you going this year and why?
So I'm going to Puerto Rico, and I have 3 amazing co-leaders. There are 4 of us total, and 2 have been on the trip already. And myself and one of my co-leaders, Andrew, we both haven't. And for me, I loved my trip to Guatemala, but I kind of saw this as an excuse to go somewhere I haven't been.
Yeah.
And I love Latin America, and I love Spanish, so I just figured, great, let's go to a Spanish-speaking country. Let's get another weekend of practice with the language. And I also have no background with sustainability, and so I figured, like, the trips are supposed to be an opportunity to learn, so why wouldn't I take this chance to experience something I have absolutely no experience with.
Right.
So the people who are going back to the trip, usually Puerto Rico has a large portion of returners to the trip because they all love it so much and it's so different, and it's a little grungy. We camp out, you live in tents. We make our own toothpaste to go because everything has to, it's a very live off the land place in Las Marias, Puerto Rico. And so it's just a chance to see something totally different. So for me, it was just, I want it all new.
Right.
And then returner leaders especially go back because they had such an amazing experience, and they want to be able to be that source of support while on the trip for people who are a little bit scared or maybe ambivalent as to what's going on.
Right, got it. So you just briefly mentioned, so you'll be working with sustainability. What will be, do you know some of the specific projects you'll be doing with sustainability?
Yeah, a lot of our trip, you decide when you're there what you want to get involved in individually, but we do, it's called permaculture, and it's a little hard to explain, but it's essentially organic farming based on how like the organisms want to grow based on their ecological nature. So it's, I don't really know how to explain it. I usually let the 2 leaders who have been explain this, but we do a lot of education about it. So they both teach us, and we like actually work on the farm, dealing with crops, maybe coffee crops, stuff like that. We make all of our food with them. I know my other leaders are really excited. Like, we make our own yogurt, so we learn, and like sauerkraut. So cool. Yes, you learn processes like that. And a lot of it is just helping them out with the land and the manpower they need to keep their farm alive. Yeah.
Got it. So what is your role as a trip leader then? Is it just kind of making sure all the students like feel comfortable, feel organized when they go out for these projects, just kind of being the liaison?
A role of a trip leader changes throughout the process. It starts as being like exactly a liaison for the students to what you're doing on the trip, for a lot of them what it's like to leave the country for the first time, helping them make new friends. A lot of the younger students, freshmen who go, it's one of their first experiences with a student org at GW, so it's a nice chance to be their support system for that. And then on trip it changes a little bit. Well, then we do pre-trip education, and when you're on the trip it's really making sure that everything's running smoothly, making sure the group dynamic is good.
Right.
And a huge role of the leader becomes facilitating reflections and making sure that we're talking about what's going on
actually learning
at the trip. Yeah, and that way it's
it.
really enriching, because if not, it's so easy to forget like the big aha moments you might have on the trip.
Definitely.
And it's cool, like maybe you had an issue on the trip and you were worried about something, and once you voiced that, someone else had the same worry, and it's nice.
Right, and that way you make connections with other students.
Exactly.
Okay, so and then also I'm curious, how do you prepare for this trip in terms of fundraising and other elements?
It's a lot. I'm laughing because it's a lot. There's a lot of fundraising, a little more than I expected. Everyone says there's a lot to do, and every time you're just like, oh, there can't be that much. Yeah. There's a lot. We do, for my trip specifically, we have 2 fundraisers a week on campus, so bake-style sorts.
Okay.
But then a lot of reaching out for profit shares. Native Foods Cafe actually just let us do their first profit share on their DC location, so we got a lot of money from that. I'm really reaching out, making sure like letter writing campaigns are good. We have our fall ball coming up the first week of November, and so yeah, selling tickets for that, facilitating that. So for fundraising, it's just making sure that money is coming in and making sure that all of our participants have their payment plans set up if they need, or their checks are being filled out on time, and that they're writing letters to family members and family friends to raise money for the trip. It's a little awkward asking for that much money sometimes.
I've had to do that for service projects also. But yeah, so basically you just have to be very proactive about it. Honestly, I've seen you guys around campus as well with bake sales and other little fundraisers, so you're obviously being proactive.
Yeah, and there are so many trips we're all fighting for the same people and the same sources of money.
That's true.
So you really have to start the first week of school. Before we had participants, we still were doing 2 fundraisers a week, just for the leaders. Because you really have to.
Right, because it's so much goes along with it in terms of planning and affording everything. Okay, got it. And then final question, why would you personally encourage GW students to take part in these alternative breaks?
One thing, a lot of people I think have the preconceived notion that alternative breaks are for people who have been really involved in community service. And I would urge people who want to get involved in community service but don't have that much experience, because it's a really nice way to have a support system and ease the transition into service. It's also really fun. Like, one of the major things is it was an amazing week. It's a really great, I like the winter break trips because you get to still have your time at home. The spring break trips are great. You can escape to better weather sometimes. Like, I know in Puerto Rico we get a beach day, and it's just a fun group of people you would have never been together with, and there's a lot of laughing, a lot of just natural fun and kind of getting out of your head, and just it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So that sounds like a great experience. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Stay tuned for the headlines that are making a buzz right here on campus. Next.
Nearly 16 million people visit Washington, D.C. every year. Some come to witness, some to be heard. We come to make an impact, to learn from leaders, and to lead others, to create and create change. We are the George Washington University. We come to make history.
This past weekend, the Smithsonian Food History Festival culminated its 3-day celebration with a day full of cooking demonstrations, tastings, and other food activities. The event was free and open to the public to spark conversations about the past, present, and future of food innovations in America. Meanwhile, on campus, be on the lookout for prominent politicians. Last week, Joe Biden visited the George Washington University to discuss the life and legacy of Jimmy Carter's former Vice President, Walter Mondale. Biden praised the former Vice President for his service to the country and for the advice he shared with him that helped shape his relationship with President Obama. However, the event caused a ruckus for students trying to get to class as the Secret Service took over the first floor of the SMPA building. The following day, Biden announced he was not going to run for president. He stated that the window of opportunity to join the race had passed, and the loss of his son contributed to this decision. The current Democratic leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is coming to speak to a sold-out crowd at GW's Jack Morton Auditorium this Tuesday, October 27th at 11 a.m. Elected as the first woman speaker in 2007, she is going to talk to students about women in politics, leading Congress, and the media's influence. A live stream of the event will be available on the GW SMPA website, Or students can tweet questions using hashtag #PelosiSMPA for her to answer throughout the conversation. That brings us to the end of our show. Until next time, make sure to check out GWTV on our website at www.gw-tv.com. Thanks for tuning in, GW. We'll be seeing you around campus.